Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Weekending. The pandemic has made most of us slow down and focus on self-care. In other words, some of us have taken to activities that look after our mental, emotional and physical health. When you exercise, your body releases endorphins that help create a sense of positivity. To tell us more, we have with us Alia Bhatt's trainer, Sohrab Khushrushahi, co-founder of SoFit, and Vikramaditya Kukreja, who trains with Sohrab. He has lost 65 kilos since August 2019 and 20 kilos during the lockdown. Vikram, we begin with you. Congratulations. You've lost 65 kilos since August 2019 and 20 kilos during the pandemic from March to August. What motivated you during the pandemic?
Honestly, during the pandemic, I had to make a call whether I use it positively or negatively. And the motivation was the workouts, and Sohrab made me do some mobility stuff to ensure that I don't get injured.
All right. Sohrab, Vic is one of the case studies who lost weight, took it all positively, but doctors do indicate that 20 to 25% of the women who come to them have been binge eating because of stress and gained lots and lots of weight, which is unhealthy for them. Are you noticing that trend as well?
I think there's a mixed trend, right? There are a few people who've taken this positively and tried to work on themselves. I think health has become something that's very important today. So people have taken it a little more seriously. But there are people who are going through a sufficient amount of stress in terms of they don't know what's going to happen next. And as a result, some of them have been binge eating and some of them have been kind of, letting go as far as their food and their workouts are concerned, because it's a pretty easy excuse, right? I don't have access to a gym. I don't have access to clean food. I'm stuck at home. So I'm going to eat everything that comes inside and I'm not going to exercise.
What's your advice to all the people who are taking it as a stress, who are binge eating, who are putting on weight? And it's just not about the physicality. We all know obesity is just unhealthy and creates so many other medical issues. What's your advice to all the people who are giving in to stress?
I mean, listen, you can't judge what a person's going through, and I don't want to be that person who kind of judges what each person or each individual is going through. But for me, I think it's always been, and it's proven, right, scientifically, like workouts and exercise actually help you relieve a good amount of stress. It's a great stress buster. It's a great tool to actually get rid of the anxiety and the depression because it releases the good hormones in your system. So it's definitely something that I would encourage people to take on, and not from a weight loss perspective. I don't really care about people working for weight loss. I care about people working for general health. And it releases good hormones in your body. Cardio releases serotonin, you get dopamine out of the system when you work out, and all that is actually going to help you feel better. And I think the best thing you can fall back on when you're stressed and when you're upset is your workouts and your exercise and eating a good, clean diet. I'm not saying starve yourself. I'm saying eat your food, but make sure you know exactly what you're eating.
So I know you're a big fan of eating clean and a vegan diet. Is it environmentally better and is it better for our bodies? Tell us why.
Being vegan is not compulsory. I don't think you need to be vegan to get fit. I think you need a good amount of plant-based food in your diet. So it's good to have your fruits and your vegetables because they give you the right amount of nutrients. And you then don't need to rely on supplements and tablets to get your iron and your vitamins. So you can get that from food. And as long as you're getting that from natural food, it's good. So it is environmentally better, of course. I mean, I myself have turned vegetarian, well, practically vegan for over a year now. And it's done me a sufficient amount of good. My blood levels are definitely a lot better than they were a year back. So it's definitely helped from that perspective. But you don't have to turn vegetarian to kind of get fit. You can continue eating what you want to eat, but make sure you have a good amount of fruits and vegetables as part of your daily meals.
All right. Vikram, tell us about your 65-kilo journey. What did you give up? What did you alter in your life to reach this point of celebration?
First of all, Saurabh says celebration is still far away. We're still en route the journey, but sugar, mainly sugar and wheat, were the two things that I realized in this journey of how horrible they are. I was a certified sugar addict, as in started my day with something sweet and ended it with something sweet right before I hit the bed. So sugar is poison. That's all I can say in a nutshell. And we don't realize how harmful modern day wheat is as well, which I realized once Saurabh took me off wheat on the challenge, and then I, being a bit of a geeky bookworm, tried to look up what the problem with wheat is, and then I realized that wheat also spikes your insulin and is quite bad. So these are the two things, and the addition is lots of vegetables. If you ask me for the three fundamentals that I've implemented in my life from these challenges, I eat loads of veggies and fruits, cut out the sugar, cut out the wheat.
Saurabh, you've created this a property called the 40-day challenge. What brought about, and what are the different exercise regimes or philosophies that you try and incorporate?
I think the challenge was just something that we came up with a couple of years back when I was sitting with a bunch of my campers, and it was Diwali. It was the week of Diwali, and they were all complaining about how they're going to binge eat, and all the work that they've done over the last 2-3 months is going to go to waste because it's Diwali and the week is kind of crazy. So me being me, I kind of said, okay, why don't we kind of get on a group and let's try and eat clean through this week. Let's try and eat clean for the next 30 days and exercise every day. I think half the people thought I was crazy. But about 15 of them joined in. We formed our own group. We kind of started working on it. We kept them off sugar and alcohol through Diwali, which to me was a massive achievement because I've never understood the correlation between a festival and drinking and eating sweet. You can celebrate a festival without either. So for me, it was a mix of both, and I kind of wanted to bring that in to people in general day-to-day life. It worked really well, and because it worked well, we kind of went with the concept and tried it on a bigger scale.
All right. Last question. You train Alia Bhatt. What is Alia Bhatt's workout like during the pandemic?
Alia is a very hard worker. I think what she's done through not only the pandemic, but over the last 1 year has been amazing. She's been on all our challenges during the pandemic. So she's kind of done everything that everyone else has been doing on the challenge. So she's worked really hard, done the challenges and done a mix of practically everything. So she's done really well through this period.
All right. Wonderful. Congratulations, Vikram, on your journey. And Saurabh, thank you for all the advice. Thank you. Apart from Vikram, during the pandemic, we can find a few more successful fitness stories. Case in point, designer Siddharth Taitla. Siddharth, March to August 2020, how many inches have you lost?
Ambika, I've lost about 4.5 inches all over my body, upper body, and about 4 inches on my legs.
All right. And what did the scale say?
In the last 4 months, I've dropped about 20 kilos and I have another 15 to go.
All right. So take us through your diet.
Okay, so I have a dietitian named Mansi. She's amazing. She's giving me more food than I usually eat. I'm having quinoa, I'm having salads, I'm having a lot of chicken. It's high protein because I'm working out. A lot of shakes, a lot of smoothies. I mean, gross spinach smoothies. Yeah, and just normal food that you can cook at home. It's pretty easy. Nothing special.
I see you on Instagram doing a lot of yoga. So is yoga the reason you've lost 20 kilos in 4 months? And what kind of yoga are you doing?
Yoga is 1/4 the reason I'm losing weight. I'm actually swimming about every single day for about 100 laps in my pool. I have a trainer, a personal trainer that helps me make muscle, and my yoga instructor is just making me more flexible, you know, getting my blood circulating and stuff, and of course the diet. So these 4 factors are playing into my transformation.
Why are you so motivated during the lockdown?
You know, to be very, very honest, it's actually a product of boredom. And in the beginning, there was nothing to do. So I was like, let's do this. And now it's just become an obsession.
Thank you so much.
Thank
and
you,
good
Amrita.
luck.
Thank you.
Siddharth Eitler is not alone. Everyone is trying to indulge in some self-care. That's why Tahira Kocher, a Delhi-based therapeutic nutritionist, has a client list that has doubled since the lockdown started in March. And a majority of them are between the age of 20 to 40. Tahira, a lot of doctors are saying that the women who come to them because of stress during the pandemic, are you facing that too?
See, definitely. I think when the pandemic started and, we all are, of course, used to a very fast-paced life, and now suddenly to be restricted in terms of space, our socializing, a lot of entertainment initially was being derived out of the meals, families eating together, people taking to cooking, baking, etc. Even lifestyle disorders to an extent, because sleep times went a little haywire, no routine per se, no discipline, So that in itself is the hugest cause of any hormonal imbalance, PCOD, and obesity is the major, most important cause of like polycystic ovary syndrome, is where your period cycle, your hormonal imbalance all comes on due to that.
Why are more people wanting to follow a prescribed diet during the lockdown?
I think a prescribed diet would be best during a time like a lockdown, because it's when you can also follow it to the T. There are no restaurant temptations, no wedding binges, no travel obligations, nothing of that sort. So you have all the time to kind of curate it.
What's your favorite weight loss method? Keto, intermittent fasting, Ayurveda, eat clean, and why?
I definitely go with a combination of eating clean and intermittent fasting. I definitely don't believe in kind of cutting out a food group completely at all. Or going very high in one food group and eliminating one totally, because one thing is looking good and one thing is, of course, being healthy, having your blood reports, all of that in sync, These days I have a lot of children, 12-year-old kids, 13-year-old kids coming in with high cholesterol. So it's all very good to do fat diets and look a certain way and achieve like quick results, but also sustainability, your health, and how long is it going to last, and the bounce backs. So when you're not cutting out a food group and when you're doing a balanced diet, then the bounce backs are less, your health is in control, and whether it's not only your weight, but your skin, your hair, everything looks great.
Any recommendations you have for our viewers? How can they become the healthiest versions of themselves during the pandemic?
A lot of people have enjoyed themselves for the first half of the lockdown. Maybe now tap into your health, get onto a prescribed plan, exercise. And I think the most underrated, therapy for anything is your sleep. So a lot of people now are saying that, okay, fine, we're sleeping way longer. We have the license to do that because we may not have, as many commitments, etc. But I don't think it's the hours of the sleep. It's the quality of the sleep and the time of your sleep. 11 p.m. to 3 a.m. where your body goes through all the recovery.
What should people include in their diets to up their immunity during the pandemic?
So I think as far as our Indian food is concerned, we're actually quite good, because all our Indian food inherently has a lot of like turmeric, ginger, garlic, all vitamin C rich foods, gooseberry, aloe vera. And the more you eat seasonal, local, that's how much the nutrient absorption will happen.
What's the best way to monitor one's fitness journey? Because I know a lot of people who are obsessed with what the weighing scale has to say.
That's absolutely correct. Like, I know people who have sleepless nights because they have to check their weight the next day. And, this may be a very, very good time to, of course, tap into your health concerns and your weight loss journey, but also not get obsessed with it. Your scale monitors a lot more than just your fat, right? You do not want to be deteriorating your muscle mass or your bone density. And especially at a time like this, we realize that our immunity is of prime importance, correct? Slip into a tight pair of jeans, the one that's possibly not buckling up today, and monitor in that, and your clothes will, I think nothing measures as prominently or as closely as your clothes would, because scale fluctuations are massive. Your stress levels, your sleep, your water intake are of prime importance. And these three things are really taken for granted, you know.
Thank you so much.
Sure. Thank you, Ambika.
So far, we have discussed wellness. After the break, we speak to designer Anita Dongre, who shares with us some business advice. Don't go away. Welcome back to Weekending. Next, we have with us the only Indian designer to have a physical shop in New York. Her company's revenues for the year 2019-2020 were close to 1,000 crore rupees. Anita Dongre. Anita, how are you staying fit and sane during the pandemic? How are you taking care of your mental, emotional and physical health?
Ambika, to be honest, the first month was very traumatic. I think we went into lockdown on March 17th, and that first month was disbelief and oh my God, what's happening? And there was so much fear. But I think after that, it's going to be 5 months to being in lockdown in Mumbai at least, because it hasn't been lifted as yet fully. But now it's back to this routine of, exactly what I would have on a work day. Waking up at the same time in the morning, doing my routine. I'm just trying to stick to the same routine I had all my life. I think that's what keeps one sane.
All right. Your company and you have become extremely sustainable and try to practice zero waste living. Help us all borrow a page from your book.
Ambika, I think the decision to go sustainable is a journey. The company started on this journey a few years ago. We moved into an environmental friendly design headquarters. It's going to be almost 4 years to the building we moved in. And every day we are taking baby steps in trying to be as sustainable as possible. We have a long way to go. We've set goals and milestones for ourselves. But I think personally to anybody who's watching this show, and especially this lockdown has shown us that we really need to live more mindfully. And, honestly, we need very little. But as human beings, we just surround ourselves with so much of clutter and so much of unnecessary things that we collect, which are not really needed. And if each of us can just work towards creating as less waste as possible and work towards at least trying to recycle that waste in the best way possible. So if it's fashion and clothes, making sure you hand over your clothes to someone else and they are used again, making sure your kitchen, you at least have a simple composting pit so that you can recycle your food waste. There are so many small things each one of us can do. Use less plastic, use less air conditioning. It's so many reasons and so many little things that you can do that can make a very big difference collectively if each one of us does our bit.
All right. Now, General Atlantic invested in your company. How can fashion and lifestyle brands use this time to become more attractive to private equity?
I think just running their businesses as seriously as a fashion business should be run. It's a creative business. It's a lot of fun. But at the end of the day, it's a business. Keeping your working as transparent and as honest as possible. Streamlining, professionalizing your company. And I think it's a great time for Indian fashion. And I know that a lot of investors today are looking to invest in young brands. So, yeah, as long as you treat it seriously as a business, I don't think getting investment is a problem today.
What's your advice to all the young designers who at the moment don't have any clients or have very little business?
Ambika, to all of them, I would say today we are in the same boat. We are all still recovering from this huge tragedy that has struck the world. The world is in a bad state. Is just stay positive. Keep going to work every day, keep trying your best and don't give up, because hopefully this too shall pass and hopefully the next year should should improve the economy and improve everything around us. So just stay doing what you're always doing. Don't give up. It's tough times for everybody, Ambika. It's just tough times for everybody.
How are you catering to your brides during this period? Are there any brides?
Yes, there are brides. There are some amazing, amazing couples who are deciding to get married, even though it's COVID times. There are small marriages happening at home. A lot of people are not holding on to their marriage plans. Some are postponing them to next year. Some are going right ahead. We are being as helpful we can to the brides, home deliveries, video chats, whatever to make her process of buying her wedding garment as easy as possible.
Last question. In the near future or once it's all over, do you see people having zero waste weddings?
I would love that, Ambika. It would be my biggest wish that people have zero waste weddings, or weddings where whatever is utilized for good. Supporting NGOs in your wedding gifts, doing whatever you can, because there's so much you can. Weddings are a great time when, Indians spend a lot of money, but spend that money wisely and spend that money for good. And create zero waste, yes.
All right, wonderful. Thank you so much for your time. It was wonderful talking to you.
Thank you, Ambika.
With that, it's a wrap on this edition of Weekending. Thank you so much for watching.